Carol was 26 years old and lived a quiet life working at a small bakery. Every morning she woke before sunrise, and every night she fell into bed exhausted. Her days were the same, simple and predictable. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. A young man walked into the bakery and asked for a single cupcake. His name was Paul, and everyone in town knew his family. They owned businesses, mansions, and luxury cars. Yet he came alone, dressed simply, and left without saying much. The next day he returned, then again and again. People began to whisper, "Why would someone from such a wealthy family visit this ordinary bakery every day? Was he lost? Was something wrong?" But Paul wasn't lost. He started asking Carol questions. What did she like to read? Did she enjoy music? What made her smile? Carol found it strange. She finally asked him why he kept talking to her. He looked at her carefully and said she wasn't like other people. That answer confused her even more. What did he see in her? What was he really looking for? After 2 weeks, Paul told her he thought he liked her. Carol didn't know how to respond. She was poor and he was rich. Was this some kind of joke? But the next day he said it again, more seriously this time. Carol's mind filled with doubts. Could someone from his world truly care about someone from hers? Would his family ever accept her? Was any of this even real? At first, they kept their meetings secret. They talked quietly in the bakery after closing time. They laughed together and shared stories about their lives. It felt special and fragile, like something that could break at any moment. But secrets never last forever. One morning, Paul didn't come. 2 days passed, then 3. Carol felt worried and confused. Had he forgotten about her? Had she said something wrong? On the 4th day, he finally returned. But he looked different. His face was tense and tired. He told her his parents had found out about them. Carol's heart began to race. She stayed quiet and listened. His parents were furious, he explained. They told him he had to stop seeing her immediately. If he refused, they would cut him off completely. No money, no car, no position in the family business. Nothing. Carol wanted to cry, but held it in. Then Paul said something that shocked her. He told her he didn't care what they threatened. He wanted to be with her. But Carol wasn't happy to hear that. She was terrified. If he chose her, he would lose everything he had ever known. She told him he didn't need her. He needed his future. Paul looked into her eyes and said she was his future. Those words were beautiful, but they also frightened her. Now Paul had to choose between love and money, between Carol and his family. And Carol had to ask herself a painful question. Should she let him fight for her, or should she walk away before he destroyed his entire life? There was another problem. A girl named Rachel had always wanted Paul for herself. Their families had expected them to marry one day. When Rachel learned that Paul was spending time with a poor bakery worker, she became furious and jealous. She began making plans to win him back. Days went by and Paul continued to visit Carol, even though his parents forbade it. But every time he left the house, they demanded to know where he was going. Paul refused to lie, but he also refused to stop seeing her. Meanwhile, Rachel decided to act. She went to the bakery one afternoon, looked Carol in the eye, and told her she didn't belong in Paul's world. She said Carol was ruining his future and asked if she really wanted to destroy his life. Carol said nothing, but her heart pounded with fear and guilt. That night, Carol couldn't sleep. She kept thinking that maybe Rachel was right. Maybe she was just a burden. Maybe the kindest thing she could do was disappear. The next day, Paul arrived with flowers and told her he wanted her to meet his friends. But Carol stopped him and said maybe they should end things. Paul looked stunned. He asked why. She told him his life was full of opportunities and hers was small and empty. She didn't want him to lose everything because of her. Paul said he had already told her he didn't care about any of that. Carol didn't know what to believe anymore. Soon after, Paul's father took away his car, his money, and his phone. He told Paul that if he wanted to live like a poor man, he could go ahead. Paul had nothing left. He walked to the bakery on foot, looking exhausted and lost. Carol felt a deep pain in her chest. He was losing everything, and she felt responsible. Paul insisted it wasn't her fault. He said it was his choice, but his words didn't comfort her. She began seriously thinking about leaving. At the same time, Rachel told Paul's parents a lie. She claimed that Carol was using Paul for his money and had admitted it to her directly. Paul's mother cried when she heard this. Paul was furious and told them it wasn't true, but his parents didn't believe him. Everything felt broken. Despite everything, Paul kept coming to see Carol. He had no car, no money, and no support, but he still showed up. Carol, however, was changing. She stopped smiling. She barely spoke. Her heart felt heavy with guilt and sorrow. One night, she wrote him a letter. In it, she told him he had a bright future ahead and didn't need her holding him back. She said she loved him, but she had to go. She left the letter on the bakery counter and went home without waiting for him. The next morning, Paul found the letter. He read it in silence. He didn't cry or shout. He simply walked out. That same evening, Rachel's parents threw a grand party. All the wealthy and important families were invited, including Paul's parents. Rachel told everyone Paul would be there and that everything would return to normal. But Paul never came. Instead, he went to the bakery. When Carol saw him, she asked why he was there. He handed her the letter and said she didn't get to decide for him. He told her he wanted her, not money or parties or lies. Carol felt a flicker of hope. Meanwhile, at the party, Paul's mother accidentally discovered a voice message on Rachel's phone. In the recording, Rachel admitted she had lied about Carol. She said Carol was no threat and that she would scare her away easily. Paul's mother listened in silence, then turned to her husband and said they had made a terrible mistake. The next morning, Paul's mother went to the bakery. Carol's heart stopped when she saw her, but Paul's mother didn't look angry. She placed Carol's goodbye letter on the table and explained that Paul had given it to her. She said her son truly loved Carol. Then she told Carol about Rachel's recorded confession. She admitted that she and her husband had been wrong to judge Carol for being poor. She said Carol had something their family lacked: honesty and genuine love. Rachel's lies became public soon after. Her voice message spread among her social circle. People questioned everything about her. Humiliated, Rachel left town a week later. 2 weeks after that, Paul's father invited both Paul and Carol to meet him. Carol was nervous and Paul was quiet. Then his father spoke. He told them that when he was young, he had loved a girl his family disapproved of. His father forbade the relationship, and he never forgot her. He said he didn't want to make the same mistake with his son. He told Carol he didn't care that she was poor. What mattered was that she was honest, and that was exactly what his family needed. Paul and Carol looked at each other, overwhelmed with relief and joy. 3 months later, their lives had changed completely. They were still together, living simply but peacefully. Paul started working at the bakery, learning to bake bread and decorate cakes. His parents visited every Saturday, and his mother beamed with pride. One day, Paul's father offered him a position in the family business again. Paul didn't know what to say. Carol smiled and told him he didn't have to choose anymore. He could have both a future and her. Paul shook his head gently and said they had a new future together. Carol looked around the bakery, at the customers, at Paul. She remembered the first day he walked in and asked for a cupcake. Now, they had something money could never buy: love built on trust, respect, and sacrifice. Paul had once had everything, but he hadn't been happy. Real love isn't about expensive gifts or grand houses. It's about choosing each other even when the world tells you not to. And that kind of love is stronger than fear, lies, or money. Carol realized that when your heart feels full, even when your hands are empty, you've found the right answer.